Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth. I am a 36-year-old attorney living in the DC area with my husband. And for today's video, I am doing a full face of stick makeup. In other words, makeup that comes in a stick form. So a lipstick, for example, would be the most well-known example of that. So I did do a video like this a few months ago doing a full face of liquid makeup. So I've had this idea in the back of my mind to kind of explore other forms of makeup, but I did see at the end of last year that Allure had published their forecast for major beauty trends in 2022, and they included stick makeup as something they thought would be a major trend in 2022, partly just due to the ease of use for some of these products. So I'm excited to play around with these items and discover some of the pros and cons of this form when it comes to different makeup products. So some of these are new products on the market, some are new to me, and some I have had in my collection for a while now, and so I'm pretty familiar with them. So I did apply my skincare, moisturizer, that kind of thing earlier today, but I haven't applied primer or anything like that. So the first item I'm going to use is the MAC Prep and Prime lip product, and I usually do like to apply some kind of moisturizing lip product while I'm doing my makeup. Lately I've been reaching for like a lip oil. So I think this is more of a dedicated primer, but if you're just looking for something kind of more moisturizing, obviously just the classic chapstick is a very well-known type of lip product that comes in a stick form. So the next product I have, so normally I would apply some kind of moisturizing primer, and there aren't a ton of primers that come in stick form on the market. I know Milk Makeup has like blurring sticks, but that's not the type of primer that I typically go for. So instead I'm going to be using this JOA Crystal Glow. This is a tinted luminizer stick, and it says it has crystallite for an all-over radiant glow. So it says it can be worn alone for a more natural looking glow and luminosity, or under foundation for an illuminating effect. And I have it in the shade Ivory. I think this was on maybe the 2020 Allure Best of Beauty, I'm not sure. And I think Jamie Greenberg, she's a celebrity makeup artist. She does like Haley Coco's makeup a lot. I think she's talked about this product a fair bit. So let's see. So it does have some kind of tint to it. And like I said, I have the shade Ivory. And then it has this little kind of, I'm assuming, synthetic angled brush on the bottom, I guess, to kind of blend it out. JOA is a cruelty-free brand, and this product I think was made in Korea. So I haven't tried this before, so I'm not really sure what level of coverage we're looking at. I did pull out a foundation stick, but I just kind of wanted to see how this did before I pulled that out. So let's start off with the forehead. I'm not planning on doing any kind of wear test with this makeup today. So I guess I'm not too worried about like the longevity of my makeup. I can see how if you have oily skin, you might be a little scared of using this many like cream-based products. I do have dry skin, and it's also February. So I feel like my skin can handle a little bit more of like a thicker product than it would maybe in the middle of summer. Okay, so that is half my face applied with this little brush. So I don't know, I feel like I already look a little shiny. I think I maybe see a little bit more kind of evening out on this side and maybe a little bit more luminosity, but it's a pretty subtle product. And this brush, by the way, I think does come off somehow. Okay, so it has like a locking mechanism, so you like twist it to unhook it, which is nice because that way you can wash the brush without worrying about getting water in the product. So I do have some blemishes on my chin here. I don't think they're open blemishes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and like go over them. If it was more like of an active kind of wound situation, I would probably tap my finger on the product and then tap it onto that spot to avoid contaminating the product. But unlike, you know, products that have like a doe foot applicator, you can sanitize stick products a little bit easier. You can spray them with alcohol or dip them in alcohol, or like slice off part of the product. With a like doe foot type application, once you put the applicator back in the tube, you're pretty much done. So I like this. I might still apply some foundation on top and certainly concealer, but if you just want something really easy, you know, doing a bit of skin tone evening out, some luminosity, I think if I were just applying this product, I would probably apply a powder over top, but we are staying away from powder for this video. I'm just gonna comb up my brows really quickly. So one new product that I have is the Bobbi Brown Skin Corrector Stick. So I have the shade Extra Light Bisque, and this is a new product that Bobbi Brown has come out with. They've been selling like a little cream corrector in a pan for years, like over a decade, but they just recently came out with a corrector in stick form. And it's nice because they do have a fair number of shades in this. Let's just check this quickly on the Sephora website. I think the only places I've seen it so far is the Sephora website and the Bobbi Brown website. So this is $32. You get 0.11 ounces or 3 grams. I have it in the shade Extra Light Bisque, which is the lightest shade. And it looks like they have at least 6, 8, 10, 12 shades, which is pretty decent for a corrector. They did also come out with a concealer that looks kind of similar to this, like in a stick form. But I have a different concealer that I'm going to use, and looking at the shades, I don't know, I wasn't really sure if any of them would be great for me. The nice thing about this corrector is that it's a very light kind of pink color, which I think will actually work well for my skin tone. And the idea behind a corrector, so you can see I have some pretty considerable under eye circles, and they kind of have that like blue purplish type tint. So a corrector that has a pink or peach undertone to it is opposite blue or purple on the color wheel. So it kind of works to counteract that color. Oh, and one thing I did want to say about this packaging is that it is magnetic, which I wasn't expecting. So it's a little expensive, and just looking at the website, you know, I wasn't sure how nice the component would feel in the hand, but having a magnetic closure definitely helps it feel more kind of high-end than it could otherwise. So I'm just going to kind of dab this on and just use my finger to blend. So there you can see the eye with the corrector and the eye without. And one of the reasons I like that they come out with such a light color in a corrector is that with some correctors, it does have a peachy tone, but the underlying shade is darker than my skin tone, so then I definitely need a concealer on top to brighten. With this shade, I think I could probably just get away with using this and not putting a concealer on top. So if I was going for a more kind of no makeup look, I think I could get away with just using that corrector. So the product I've been using the most recently is the Charlotte Tilbury corrector, for example. This is another cream product, but it's in a pan, and I'll just swatch it side by side so you can really see the difference there. So the swatch closest to my thumb is that JoA product, the Bobbi Brown is in the middle, and then that Charlotte Tilbury corrector is nearest my pinky. It is feeling a little warm in my apartment actually, even though it is February. I turn off the air conditioning when I film. And yes, I do run the air conditioner sometimes in February. Sometimes I turn on the heat, but sometimes it's the air conditioning, which I guess is one of the benefits to living in an apartment, is that you are pretty well insulated. Okay, so that is it for the corrector. For the concealer, I have another product that I think was in Allure Best of winner. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. Before I apply that though, I think I'm going to apply some of this Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Stick Foundation. I have it in the shade 115 or R230. I haven't used this product in a while. I did see that Makeup Forever is coming out with a new foundation. I think this actually is a little bit darker than the like JOA products, so this will be interesting. So with a product like this, you can either twist up the stick and then run your brush over it and buff it on, or like I did, just swipe it directly onto the face. And I'm going to use a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush to blend that. So yeah, I have this one little blemish here. I think that blended in pretty nicely though. I do like with this packaging, it has a clear window so you can see if you have like multiple shades, what shade you're reaching for. Okay, so I think that helped camouflage a little bit more. But going back to this Laura Mercier concealer, I have it in the shade 0.5N. And this one is interesting because I've used it in another video and it has a correct side, which is not a corrector, not a color corrector. It's just like your kind of normal concealer. And then they also have a brightened shade, which is more of like an under eye kind of illuminating type product. I think I'll start out with the correct side and just try again to pinpoint some blemishes, and then I'm just kind of tapping over it because I don't want the product to move too far from where I'm putting it. I'm not sure whether the brighten or the like corrector side would be better underneath the eyes. I'm gonna use the correct side. So you can see that is like a normal concealer type shade. The good thing about having products that are all kind of the same consistency is that they tend to blend together a little bit better. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and do my brows next. So I have two options here. I have the Hourglass brow pencil and the Benefit. I normally don't use a brow pencil. I'm gonna use the Benefit one in, it's 2.5, whatever they call that. So normally I use some kind of brow gel, either tinted or clear. It's good to have this as an option, but it's not really my preferred method. I think that just kind of helped darken them a little bit. Yeah, this is not kind of my favorite, but I know if some people, if they really want to kind of change the shape of their brows or fill in a lot, then pencils are very helpful with that. But you can see I have like longer brow hairs, and so, you know, I like to make sure that they kind of stay up instead of falling down. But I think that'll do the trick. So before I do anything with the eyes, I want to kind of give my face some definition and color. So I'm going to start with my contour. So I'm gonna use the Fenty Contour Matchstick in Amber. I did see recently that Fenty has come out with a light amber, which is interesting, but I don't find this shade to be too harsh on me, even though I am quite fair. So I just like to blend that out with my BK 101 brush. And then lately I've been using the KVD liquid contour because I find it's a little bit easier to blend that out underneath the chin. But obviously for purposes of this video, I'm sticking with this one, haha. Didn't plan that. Okay, so and then I like to put some on my cheeks. And I like to hold the brush this way and then take it up like so. So as I'm sure you know, contour is meant to be more cool tone, so you're putting it where you would naturally or want to have shadows on your face. The bronzer is meant to be more of where the sun would hit, so more in the like high points of your face. So one of the new products I have is the much sought after Rare Beauty Warm Wishes Effortless Bronzer Stick, and I have it in the shade Happy Soul, which is actually not the lightest shade. This is the second lightest shade. So I think I took the same approach when I purchased the Makeup by Mario, what is this, Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick. This I got in the shade Light Medium. And with my skin tone, even though this is a little bit darker, I prefer to have something that's, I guess, slightly more cool toned. And let's see, that's the Rare Beauty, and this is the Mario. So I think the Mario is actually more cool toned, which would make sense because it is more of a sculpting stick. But I do find the Mario can be a little bit difficult to blend out sometimes. And this one, everyone has been talking about it and how easy it is to blend. So I like to put bronzer like on my forehead, and usually I kind of bring it down on my cheeks. So I think I'll just stick with that and see how far we get. It does have a very satisfying click to it. And using the same brush, I'm going to kind of blend this up into my hairline. And then again, kind of blend it up and out. So yeah, I think that is quite easy to blend. I was a little worried I would kind of go too heavy-handed with it, but I think I can actually use a tiny bit more, maybe on that side. Looking super glowy. Okay. So next, I'm gonna do some blush. So I have this little, I think this might have been a sample from Milk Makeup. This is the Lip and Cheek in the shade Work. So I'm just going to apply this. Actually, there's a couple different ways you can apply products, like I mentioned. So you can either, this product feels a little bit stiffer. I don't know if it's just a little old, but I think you can maybe see I did get some product, like complexion product, picking up on the blush. So sometimes it's just a matter of kind of knowing the product and kind of what to expect. So you can also use a finger and rub it over the product, and the heat from your finger will help warm it up, and you can just tap it on like so. In fact, I think I might go back on the other side. Like I mentioned, if you wanted to, you could just, you know, take a brush and kind of run it over, depending on the finished result that you want. But I think for this particular product, I like my fingers the best. All right, so for highlighter, I have a couple of different options. One of the products that Allure actually talked about in their article was the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cooling Glow Stick. And this was actually, I think, an Allure Best of Beauty winner for 2020 maybe. This is in the shade 400 So Guilty. So I have a couple of different highlighter options to play with. So that is the CoverGirl. It's a little bit gold for my taste, but we might be able to make that work. I also got two products from e.l.f. These are their Daily Dew Sticks, and when I first saw these, I thought they were like priming type products, like moisturizing primers. But they're actually, I think, meant to be highlighters. So they kind of have different colors geared toward different skin tones. I think this iridescent one is supposed to be universal, and they have different ingredients that are supposed to give different benefits. This is definitely more of that kind of, it's a highlighter because it looks wet more so than having any kind of shimmer in it. I probably could have used this all over my face actually because it just doesn't have a lot of pigment. And then this one is the Daily Dew Stick and Cool Berry. So this has pomegranate extract and this has snow mushroom. And this Cool Berry shade was supposed to be good for fair skin tones. You can see there just really isn't a lot of underlying pigment. I'm curious though how this will apply. So I'm going to just rub over with my finger. This reminds me almost of like the RMS Cream Luminizer, was it called? Where it did just kind of give you that wet look and you could apply it basically without any other makeup and it would just kind of give you that kind of highlighted look. So yeah, so I would kind of put the JOA and these e.l.f. products in the same category. I wouldn't necessarily use them together, but if you're just looking for something kind of fresh without a lot of shimmer, those might be good options. All right, so going back to the CoverGirl. It's still pretty subtle, and you know, I have so much other kind of radiance and luminosity going on that it might not kind of stand out as much, but yeah, it's pretty light going just directly. So I'm gonna call it there for the cheeks. Let's go ahead and zoom in for the eyes. So normally I would apply an eye primer, but most of the eye primers I have are liquid, but people often use just a cream shadow for a base anyway, so I think we're probably in good company there. So I'm going to start off with the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick Eye Color in the shade Cocoa. And I think this is a mini. So this is more of a matte color because I want to put a different type of shimmer product over the lid. And it looks a little scary straight out from the product. I'm going to take this tapered blending brush and just work to blend that and soften it into the crease. So as you can see, I think that kind of blended out and softened in a way that makes it look like I applied just kind of a normal brown eyeshadow. Nothing too intimidating or scary. And I'm just putting it right in the socket line. So the kind of main attraction today is the KVD Dazzle Stick in the shade Electro Bolt. I've swatched this before, but I haven't actually applied it on my lids. And for this, I'm not sure exactly what's going to be the best way to blend it out, but let's go ahead and just start by It's a little bit chunkier. So you can definitely use your fingers. I think with my like hooded eyes and my eye shape and size and whatever, it's a little bit difficult for me to use my fingers sometimes to kind of get into all the little nooks and crannies, but I think this product does kind of blend out a little bit better with a finger. It's just a little bit more of a challenge to kind of get it where I want it. So this is actually a concealer brush from Zoeva. I'm gonna see what happens if I just kind of try to pick up some product on the tip here. So it's pretty. I think it's just, like I said, a little bit difficult for me to maneuver this style of product so that it kind of gets everywhere I want it to. So I'm gonna try and, like, I don't know, put it in. I have some on my inner corner here, and like my eyelids are not shaped the same, but I want to try and get a little bit of a symmetry going with my eye look. And there was a bit of, I don't know, stray sparkle because I don't know if it was like how I was trying to blend it with a brush, but one thing that's generally good about cream eyeshadow is that you don't have fallout the same way you would with a powder product. And normally I would take some eyeshadow underneath my lower lash line because that helps the under eyes from creasing. But I think this concealer is looking pretty good so far. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there for the shadow. So for the eyeliner, I have these It Cosmetics eyeliners, which I think were also an Allure Best of for 2020. Can you tell I was going to do an Allure Best of 2020 video and I never got around to it? So this is the Superhero No Tug Gel Liner in the shade Fantastic Espresso. I saw It Cosmetics just came out with a, what do you call it? Like a cream shadow stick type product. So my preference when it comes to eyeliner, pencil eyeliner, is for something that is super creamy that I can really kind of blend out with a brush. But I know that's not everyone's preference. So these seem to be transferring decently well. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite format for eyeliner. I was thinking about doing a wing, but I think I might just leave it there actually. So if I were in your position, I would be very curious what I was going to do for mascara, because you have cake mascaras, which are that really kind of vintage style of mascara where you have a little like cake that you have to wet and then you rub a brush in it. But other than that, I mean, mascaras all pretty much come in some kind of form like this. And I mean, there is a stick, so whether you consider this a stick or something else, either way, mascara is something that I kind of give myself a pass in terms of trying to, you know, find a product that comes in that form factor. Okay, so this was the Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara. I actually just purchased a replacement that I need to swap in for that one. That one's getting a little old. And then for mascara, I'm just going to go in with my Tarte Lights Camera Splashes and use my Surratt Lash Curler. I just ordered that new Tarte concealer that they're coming out with. I think it's called the Flex Concealer. So I do try a fair number of Tarte products, but this mascara is my go-to because it is waterproof, but it's still pretty easy to remove. I actually started a fresh tube not too long ago, And I think like a lot of mascaras, it's not quite as volumizing when you first open it. So sometimes I'll use the new tube for the first coat to get some definition and kind of help it along in its aging journey, I guess. And then I'll go in with the older tube for the second coat, because this has definitely had plenty of time to thicken up. I also really like that it has that fabric around the tube. It just, I don't know, makes it easier to hold, makes it easier to open. So anyway, I've talked about this mascara plenty on my channel. I don't need to go on about it anymore. Okay, so I think the only thing left is for lips. And like I said at the beginning, lipstick is one of those classic makeup products that has come in a stick form for many years. I think if we go back to the very origins of lipstick, it probably came in like a pot or a pan or something. But anyway, so I am going to line my lips. So I do plan to use the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the shade Pillow Talk. But I'm actually going to go in with Pillow Talk 2 Medium, which is a little bit darker. Okay, so that is the lip liner. And this is, I believe, a matte formula, which is not always my preference, especially for a lighter shade. If it's a red, you know, you kind of want it to stay in place. But I think on top of that, just to give it a little bit more moisture and life, I'm going to use this Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in the shade Rose. This is a very soft formula, as you can probably tell from the type of applicator here. It doesn't have a ton of pigment. It's almost kind of too soft. I think this might have been like a sample or deluxe size. I'm not sure if it's the same as the full size, but I don't think you can like roll these back down, which is kind of annoying. I really want to try the Makeup by Mario product like this. That's been like sold out. But this is a really nice product, and aside from my frustration with the packaging, I really do like the effect it gives. It definitely helps to kind of, you know, sit over your lip lines, and as far as using a product that kind of gives you the effect of a gloss while still sticking to the brief, this definitely kind of fits the bill. All right, guys, so that is the finished look. Let me know what you think, if you like the finished look, if it gave you any kind of inspiration for different ways of doing your makeup or different types of products to try. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I think, like I said, I am feeling a little warm at the moment, and if it were in the middle of the summer, I would definitely be a little nervous heading out with this face of makeup on, especially if I had to wear a mask or anything. So I probably would powder. But I think what I like the most is just kind of how seamless everything looks. It looks very well blended and kind of soft. You know, there aren't any like super harsh edges or anything. So I don't think there are any products that I hate. I think maybe the most disappointing is just these e.l.f. products, because they don't really highlight in the way that I wanted them to, but that's fine. The bronzer was really nice, and I think this corrector will also come in handy for kind of lighter makeup days where I don't want to have to worry about covering up the shade of a corrector, but I still want to kind of have that extra kind of color correction. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe if you did and want to see other content from me. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.